Baptist, I was there and I was somewhat uncomfortable. And I would hate to be in a province where in liturgy, for instance, I would feel uncomfortable because others are not going along with that. This is a thing that can be very disturbing.
When Sergius raised the whole possibility of, how faithful are they, what is their attitude toward the Vatican, that's something that speaks to my heart personally, especially in terms of liturgical celebrations, and the whole sense of the unity of the Church being rooted in the ministry of the bishop.
There was no opposition to going ahead with the proposal, but we did bring up the fact that there's a psychological problem. If once we decide that this is going to be done, how do we keep up our spirits of working on the projects that we already have and not just give up and say, well, it's all going to be merged, so that the work we're doing can still continue?
But if you go there in good faith, and if you go there, there is some emotion that's involved in it, but at the same time, there's even something bigger and greater than ourselves that seems to be prompting this, because we've prepared some things. We've had an APA in Dayton. We've had an APA in Racine.
So those of us who are here who are advanced in age will not see that process, but the younger generation will. Go through the same thing as we're going through.
I love our province. I know how the differences are between many provinces around the world, and I like the way that we are different.
An ethos that we seemed to have an identity with St. John the Baptist Province, that there seems to be a similarity in spirit. And I use the term blue collar.
We're friars who are willing to do this. However, what it does do is it puts our fraternity in a position to, for the next 3 years, with the help and reminding of the provincial and this council, to try to live into this.
First of all, that we don't want to be forced into this. We should do it while we're healthy. And secondly, the whole point is not for survival, it's for ministries.
Do it freely rather than be imposed from the outside, either by Rome or by our general minister. And also, we have a good start with this, with the blending of the friars that come to the novitiate and post-novitiate.
Do not want to be mandated by dates, and we concur with the letter, that at least what Leslie got, that it could be, in a sense, I don't know, threatening, stressful, whatever.
The creation of a new province. As a matter of fact, I think when Leslie came for visitation, you used that phrase, and that's very different to me from merging two provinces.
Remember in the Philippines, it was 1983, I think it was, that when we were asking the general at that time, the 5 provinces that were there, to merge to become an entity of the Philippine province, which was not a Philippine province because it was a carryover of the province of Spain.
Isn't this what we are invited to do as a province, as a fraternity? To join another fraternity, and with the help of each other, to create a new fraternity.
There's a fear.
Creative moment, and it is also a way that we honor the founding ancestors in both provinces.
What we're talking about here is setting up a common process for discernment, not voting on whether we should merge or not, or form a new province or not.
They were asking us to do things, but they had no directions to give us necessarily how to do it. And so we plugged along. We tried to do the work we could do. We tried to be about dialogue. We tried to be about sharing. We're still involved in the marriage between the custody of Our Lady of the Angels and Assumption Province. We're still involved in that, I think. We're still involved in what did that really mean, and how are we still living it out.
My heart has no problem forming a new province.
If I have anything to say about it all, it would be, first of all, the importance of dialogue.
the importance of dialogue and of talking and of sharing.
Realize that there's things happening on two levels. One is the head and the other is the heart. The head level is the finances, the law, the canon law, those aspects. And you put some brainy, heady people together and they can work that out. It could take years, is the prediction. The canon lawyer of the St. John Baptist Province said that this could take some time, but the head part could be worked out. But the discernment, the dialogue is for the heart.
What name would you give the new province, and where would you locate the provincialate? And suddenly my heart was open to dreaming of creating something new.
The vote was taken, the final day, I believe it was something like 98 for, 5 opposed, and 5 abstentions.
That I have discovered that within the last maybe 20 years, from my memory, we have become more exclusively Polish than it was when I joined the order.
So pretty much that really sums it up. They are committed to a process of discernment and discussion to discuss the possibility of forming of a new province.